all the speakers, especially Dan Itse, for coming. He just does a remarkable job of representing this country and this state. It's a shame that that he couldn't get the 10th Amendment to be recognized in the state, that our legislators are so poor and so unconstitutional that they couldn't even stand with him to support the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which they take an oath to uphold. Shame on them. Thank you for that, Dan. And I'm going to put Jeff on so he can do some cleanup here.
And cleanup. So make sure you sign up for the raffle. And you know, it's amazing. Every time a speaker comes up here, it reminds another speaker about something. It's kind of like Liberty karaoke right now. I think every time someone says something, someone else wants to come and talk a little bit about it. But you know, when Steve was talking, it reminded Dan of some things that go on in the state that Dan wanted to make sure that we knew about. So I'm going to bring Dan back up here again as he talks about some of those things.
The good news is that on the first Wednesday of January, we will begin a new session. And there will be probably 1,000 bills in that new session. There will be a state sovereignty bill, or resolution. There will be a CACR to put Claremont into the trash heap. There will be a bill that was brought to my recollection by the last gentleman. What is the surest defense of a free state?
An informed electorate.
A well-regulated militia. For the last 2 terms, I've put in a bill to reestablish the State Guard. That bill will be going in again. Like some of the other things I just mentioned to you, it will again be one of those bills that those Democrats killed and had almost unanimous support from the Republican caucus. Assuming that we get the State Guard bill passed. Now, you have to understand the difference between the National Guard and the State Guard. National Guard is something that belongs both to the state and to the federal government. And the federal government has rather co-opted it. I'm getting a little feedback here. Has rather co-opted it. And one of the things that happens is the federal government owns all of the materiel. So even if the governor were to order out the National Guard to some emergency, if the federal government wanted to inhibit that, all they would have to say is, fine, you can go, but the guns stay home. That doesn't make a very effectual, well-regulated militia. The State Guard, it already exists in statute, RSA 110, the governor may constitute the State Guard when the National Guard is out of the state. But we're just going to take away that permissive nature. The governor shall constitute the State Guard. Be very easy. It will be comprised of all able-bodied citizens over the age of 18. How many people and that aren't disabled? How many here are qualified for the State Guard? Raise their hands. There'll be 3 orders, just as there are now. The active members who've been called into service, the active reserve who have volunteered to be called into service, and they will have training requirements, and the inactive reserve, which is everybody else, who may attend all the training seminars offered for the active reserve, and who can serve in any emergency for such period or periods as their circumstances allow. That means everybody here would be the enforcement of the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire. Sounds like a perfect answer to terrorism to me. Thank you.
What about recall?
Yes, there will be a recall bill. Recall of senators, that is.
Make sure when you get a chance, talk to Dan. I mean, this guy's great. He does all kinds of things.